Welcome back to the Peanut Butter and Mountains podcast, episode number 62. If you are interested in becoming an outdoor creator, this is going to be the podcast for you. I'm going to be interviewing a OCA student, Outdoor Creator Academy student named Mike Vert, who literally in the last month has experienced a 786% growth rate on his Instagram account and is now starting to get inbounds from brands that are wanting to connect with him. So this is a super exciting episode and should be inspiring to people that might be on the fence to whether or not they think that they can actually do something similar, like be an outdoor creator and actually be able to quit their job. This is the path that Mike has been on, and hearing some of the tips and tricks from him, I think is going to be extremely useful for you. If you're interested in joining the Outdoor Creator Academy, I'm going to leave the link in the show note below, and we would love to have you in there. One of the things that you'll hear in the podcast is we talk about this currently being a gold rush period for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, as well as what's called user-generated content or UGC. So if this is something that you are serious about doing, you have to get on this extremely quickly because this will not last forever. And in fact, I've been seeing a little bit of decrease in a lot of reach as well as like brand partnerships within the last year. Now there's still a ton of it available, but I'm just kind of throwing that out there as a warning for people that might be really interested in that. So enough of that. Let's get into the podcast. Okay, welcome back to the Peanut Butter and Mountains podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He is an outdoor climbing creator who only recently begun posting on Instagram and has experienced, get this, a 786% growth rate in the last about a month and a half. And so last winter, he contacted me saying he wanted to leave his guiding business and become a content creator, and that's exactly the path he's on. And so I suggested he take the Outdoor Creator Academy course, and guess what? He followed up and did just that. So today we're going to get his story about his own journey to becoming a content creator, as well as easy tips to follow for those who are currently unhappy in their job and would love to quit and become an outdoor creator themselves. So please welcome an outstanding Outdoor Creator Academy student, Mike Vert. How's it going today, Mike?
Thanks, buddy. It's nice. It's funny to hear an intro about yourself, but yeah, I'm doing well. Can't complain. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now and learning a lot.
Yeah, perfect. Well, dude, it freaking shows. We'll tell you that. It definitely shows. So I would love to hear a little bit about your background, because even though he's a young lad, he's got a quite extensive background just in the outdoors. And then from that background, what was it that led you to wanting to explore becoming an outdoor creator and enrolling in a course that would give you the skills that you were looking for?
I grew up in Ontario, like Kitchener, Ontario, and we did some car camping and stuff as a kid. My parents weren't like super outdoorsy, but my mom hikes, like does day hikes a lot. So got exposed to the outdoors that way, but wasn't really into like any adventure sports. I saw a snowboard movie that I was obsessed with when I was like 8 and I just was like hammering that. And then they got me a snowboard for Christmas. So for like 2 years when I was like 8, 9 to 11, I was like super keen on snowboarding, but there's not many big mountains here. None of my friends did it. So I kind of fell out of that and then stopped snowboarding. So it was like this weird little spike in my adventure sports life. And then I was just in high school. There wasn't many things that I enjoyed doing in my city that like gave me a lot of pleasure and gave me those intense experiences that I was obviously craving. So I was like kind of had some unhealthy habits that arose from that because I just wanted to like experience things and like feel these intense feelings. So in grade 8, so I was probably like 12 or 13, my parents enrolled me in this 8-day canoe expedition. It was a really cool trip. It was like 3 days sea kayaking, 3 days hiking, 3 days canoeing. So I did that, made some cool friends, and I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know you could do this. Like you could camp out here and like be fully immersed in nature and just have that experience. So I did that. And then back to the normal situation. Now I'm in high school, kind of, as I said, like getting into some more unhealthy things. And then grade 10, I did a 21-day expedition with Outward Bound Canada, which is like an international organization. Did this canoe expedition like up north Ontario. It was so cool because you're just like fully immersed in nature. Like you have your little group of people and that's your community. And my guides during that trip were really cool people. And I was like, whoa, that's an awesome job. Like kind of like a
Mhm.
common thread in my life is like I see people with cool jobs. I'm like, I want to do that. And then I figure out how to. So I did that. And then same thing, back to the normal scheduled programming back home. And I was grade 12. I finished high school a semester early. I was really close to going into the trades, like going into metal fabrication because we had a shop in our school. I was like, just like making things with my hands. Um, so it was so close. And then my parents enrolled me in another dog sledding trip in Algonquin Park, like an 8-day trip as like a graduation gift, which kind of blew up in their face a little bit because like I went there and I was like, man, I forgot how much I loved like being in nature and doing all this stuff. So on that trip, I was like, I'm not going to go into trades. I'm going to go into the outdoors. Like I'm going to try and pursue being outside and like,
Interesting.
yeah, dude. So I come back from the dog sledding trip, like already, like I've already accepted college. I'm at a co-op that like has offered to pay for my college. So my parents are stoked, right? They're like, oh, sweet. Like this kid who we thought was going to be a fuck up is like on track. And then I came back and I'm like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to work in the outdoors. And they're like, how are you going to do? Like, there's no money in the outdoors. And I was like, I'll figure it out. I don't know.
Mhm.
What every parent likes to hear, right? So I did like do a lot of research and stuff on the back end of that trip. And I found a college program that trains you to be a guide, like half guide training, half business training. It teaches you how to be safe and also be a professional in those environments, which even in my recreating life has helped me out a lot because I just look at things with a safety eye rather than like how much fun can we have, which has kept me safe,
Nice.
especially in climbing. I graduated in 2017 and then I was a raft guide that summer because it was super whitewater based. So that was a big part of my life for that year. So whitewater raft guide. Winter, I taught snowboarding in Ontario and I taught at the biggest hill in Ontario. And I was like, this is it. Then next summer, like I led a canoe expedition program at a camp. And then the next winter, I was about to work at the biggest ski hill in Ontario again. And then my buddy's like, yo, I got a job teaching snowboarding in Japan. And I was like, what? That sounds fucking awesome. Like that's on my bucket list. So I applied to that, got in there, taught snowboarding in Japan, came back and I was like, I need to move to the mountains. So I got a gig running Via Ferrata stuff in Whistler. So I moved out there and that was like 4 years ago. And then I've been living in Whistler and like teaching snowboarding and then slowly building up my rock guiding and just, it's so close to Squamish that I've just been climbing a shit ton for like
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah. So basically to bring me to now, the guiding industry is great. And I really enjoy teaching people because like the demographic of people who want to participate in adventure sports are oftentimes like very humble people who like understand they have stuff to learn and they're out there to like challenge themselves, which I love. Like those are my type of people, right? Because I'm the same inside. So I just wanted to facilitate more people. And like one of the big things is the first time someone experiences something, whether it's hiking, climbing, snowboarding, whatever, is super important because those first few days or first few
Mm.
experiences can either
Mhm.
like deter you from it or get you motivated,
Mhm.
right? So I
Mhm.
I took a lot of, I don't know, pride isn't the right word, but a lot of satisfaction knowing that like I can bring the energy and like tell them that it's okay to not be like perfect at things. And that's part of the process. And I've been talking with people for like years now about, I'm like, man, if you really want to teach the most people, like the bandwidth of in-person teaching is just, it's super low, right? Like I can't, you only teach like 10 people at a time. So
Mhm.
if I like record myself teaching these things and put it online, like more people can see it. But then your ego is like, oh, you don't want to be embarrassed by putting stuff online. Like, I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to shoot them. I don't know how to do all this stuff. Um, so yeah, you just have all the excuses and I just continued to like use them. But
Crushing.
you popped up on my Instagram and so when you're guiding, you have to kind of work other jobs, right? Because you can't, it's really hard to fill your schedule with guiding. And I personally like doing some like other jobs and guiding because you can burn out. So I'm landscaping and I'm just seeing you on my Instagram, like doing all these fun things and then being like, yo, you could do this too. Like I just quit my job or I just, I'm making some income through this. And I was like, man, if he could do that, I could definitely do that. Right. And then
Right.
it's just like, okay, but what's the first step? And that's the big question that I think everyone hesitates at because it's like, do I start by just like posting a video of me climbing? Do I start by just like posting a video of me doing X, Y, and Z? Like, what's the formula? Everyone knows there's an algorithm. It's paralysis by analysis, right? It's like there's so many ways I can go with this, and there's only so much time I can use. And then you obviously talked about your course, and I was like, okay, well, if I take this course, at least that'll give me some structure to how I can approach sharing like my energy and
Right.
knowledge with people. So I took the course and I was kind of like halfway in, halfway out. Cause I mean, we chatted about it. I had so many expeditions lined up. Like I
Right.
worked for like 33 days straight in July and I
Right.
had enrolled in the course prior to that. But when I came out, so it gave me a lot of time to think because I'm in the forest for like 30
Right.
days. Right. And it's like, I wasn't connected. I was disconnected, which was nice because it allowed me to like recalculate my orientation. And then when I got back, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to hammer this. And I never like did the like living in the car thing, which is kind of a rite of passage in climbing. But I was like, I could just like sleep in my car. And dude, like every day I just like sleep in my car. And then I was in Canmore, Alberta at the time, which has this awesome rec center that has like a climbing gym, a fitness center, a pool, and like a cafe all in one. So I just like sleep in my car, wake up and go there and just like do the course and like work for like 12 hours straight. And then I'd
Interesting.
go to the gym, go to the climbing gym, like go outside a little bit, go back, sleep in my car, and then just like repeat that and repeat that and
Hmm.
repeat that. And then I went back to the coast because I had some contracts lined up, but like just day things. And then I just did the same
Yeah.
thing at a university, man. I just poached those little offices they have in the library. And I just like, they were open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I just like wake up, do a run, go in there and just like get to work and then just like bang my head into the wall and just fail at like an accelerated rate. Cause I knew you just have to like
Hmm.
do it poorly a lot, like the sports we do, right? Just have to do it poorly a lot to be able to do it well. So that's what I did for like the last month and a half. And now it's like shit has traction. And if you go back on my Instagram, like you'll see the like shittily rendered videos of me with like without energy and the
Yeah.
pacing's off and stuff. But like the action of posting stuff was a big thing for me. Like I just need to be able to post it and then move on to the next one. Cause the amount of friends I have were like, yeah, I'm editing videos right now. Like I gotta get a big catalog and like I want that before I put it out and I want it to be perfect. And I was like, once I get past that, then I can just make iterations. And MrBeast said this. He's like, first 100 videos are going to suck. I was like, okay, I can make 100 videos. And I'm just, the faster you make the 100 videos, the faster you get to the part where you don't suck. So that's what I'm doing. But honestly, like you helped me out a lot because like, unless you see it, you don't know, right? I don't have anyone in my life who makes content and makes money from it like the way you do.
Hmm.
So it was so sweet seeing you do it. And then you're like, hey, I made a blueprint to do what I do. And I was like, okay, like this is possible. He's got the blueprint. Obviously, everyone does their own way, but the course just allowed me to like have structure. And then like once I hit the ground, I had like momentum behind me. So I appreciate you
Right.
building that because I know it's a lot of work, man. There it
Yeah.
is.
Yes, it was. But hearing this like from you, it makes it definitely all worth it. Now, one of the things about Mike though too is that you are very comfortable receiving feedback. In our Facebook group, Mike would post his videos, his first few videos, and ask for feedback. He
Hmm.
literally would just put himself out there. He'd post the video, say, "Hey, this was like your first couple videos. Hey, what could I do to make this better?" People in the group would comment on it. I would comment on it. And he would take the advice. And then all of a sudden, his next videos look completely different
Hmm.
every single time. How much experience did you have with video or just like social media in general prior to when you started posting and taking the course a few months ago?
Dude, like none, pretty much. I mean, you can scroll back on my Instagram. Me and my brother did this like 2 days ago because we're like, okay, we gotta like make sure there's no skeletons in the
Yeah.
closet. But
Yeah, now that you're Yep, yep.
yeah,
I've done that.
yeah.
I've deleted my Twitter. I was like, "Ooh, that ain't good. That ain't
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
place."
yeah. But we did a deep dive on that, and you can do it like I mean, I snowboarded and taught snowboarding like full time for like 4 or 5 years. And everyone in that community is like, it's hard to, we were talking about this, to like pull out your camera because that stops you from snowboarding. But you get like a few
Yeah.
clips, and then at the end of the year, you're like, oh, I should probably chop this together. And it's just this like rickety old edit, like hip hop music behind it. And it's like, with like a filter over top. So that was like my extent of my social media stuff. And,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time to like get proficient at editing videos, right? So, and then you need the software. Like I'm paying a little bit for software each month, but it's honestly just failing a lot, right? It's like, I just sucked at it so bad. Like, but then
Yeah.
like you making a shitty video, I just tried to like think of it representing like that's me getting closer to making a not shitty video. It's not like, oh, I don't know how to make videos. So
Love this.
yeah.
Love this. It's like you have to pay your shitty video tax in a way.
Yeah. Well, MrBeast is the best one in the game at making videos. And like he says multiple times in so many interviews, it's like the first 100 videos are going to suck. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to make 100 videos. I'm going to try and
Okay.
make them good. I was like, I'm going to try and make them good, but I don't even know what the process is to do that. So I have to make it shitty and then just like,
Yeah.
and he said, the other thing he said that was cool was like, just tweak like one little thing on each one. That's what I've been doing, just like
Yeah.
stacking bricks. And now it's like everyone sees the bridge I built, but they
Yeah.
didn't realize like it just takes a little while. But I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, and my videos can get so much better still. So it's not
Love
like
that. Love
I'm
that.
like the one to look at and be like, he has the best videos. It's like look at the people who are
Yeah.
successful, and then
Yeah.
that's who you should follow. I'm just like learning how to swim as well.
Right. Well, I love what you say, man. I mean, I that is probably the most important mindset to have as a creator is you need to fail fast, and you just need to know that you have this crappy video tax that you need to pay in
Yeah,
order to get to where you want to be, and a lot of people aren't willing to pay that tax, or they're only willing to pay a very small percentage of that tax before they completely say this isn't for me, I don't want to do this anymore,
yeah,
right? And so but not only that, I mean, with social media, you not only have to create good videos, right? But you also need to understand the algorithm and how these
yeah.
different platforms work and the languages that they use. So, how has that journey been for you from like how did you what was your understanding of these platforms, prior to learning about it, and how do you feel like your understanding is now?
Yeah, so I was definitely like, I would be a consumer of Instagram, and my close friends are joking now because like I would delete Instagram for like months, and then I get back on it because like it's so much. It knows you so well that it was so much fun to be on. It's like perfect memes for me, like climbing content, snowboarding content. It's like I could do that
Mhm.
shit all day, right? So it was like as a consumer, but then on the back end, as you said, it's like knowing kind of what strings to pull and what to spend time on. It's hard to understand. I mean, the course just allowed me a lot of it's just like, what do you spend time on, right? Like say you have 4 hours to make a video, like what are you gonna spend time on and focus? So there's kind of two or three main aspects the course gave me. One of them was like how to set up your profile, like with the bio and the highlights and the whatever.
Mhm.
Same across platforms. So the course was really good to just like give you a foundation of like what like where you're gonna send stuff out from. And then it also taught like what you should focus on in the content. And what I liked about your stuff is it wasn't like a doctrine where it's like you must do it this way. Like you were super like this is where it's at now, like it could change. This is how I do it. And I think that's refreshing because I don't trust people when they say like, oh, this is the only way to do it. It's like, you must do it this way. I'm like, especially with social media, like my sister, she's like, she was in this world for a while and she was like, people make it different ways. Like you got to make sure you're authentic. Like my content's all pretty much educational right now. And your content is a lot of like inspiration, some of it, and education. So you have a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
mix and everyone does it a little different. But the course just allowed me to like know what to spend time on. And like, rather than completely guessing, it's like, okay, well, the guy who's doing this said that I should be focusing on this at least a little bit. So now I have like a reason to spend my time in a certain way. It's like I'm not going down wormholes. And then when you go online, the issue with like learning about this stuff through YouTube is like everyone has a product to sell on top of like their information, right? Whereas with yours, it's like you pay for a course, you already have the money, right? So it's like you're incentivized to make that course the best it can be. And there's no like cells in the
Right.
middle. So it's like now I have all these videos where I
Right.
don't have to worry about the middle of the video, you like shouting out your affiliate. And I know I'm just going to like 10
Yep.
minutes, like I'm about to learn about thumbnails. 10 minutes, I'm about to learn about bios. And it's not going to be like, go to this website and make this. So it's cool. Like it's scary buying a course. I think I've said this before. Like it's scary buying your course. I'm like, I don't know if this guy's legit or it's some like shitty, it's like a snowboard edit that I made. It's like crappy stuff.
I love that. I love that analogy, the snowboard edit analogy, man. I literally just posted a reel that it was like that guy from, oh, you probably saw it on my story, but it was the guy from frickin' some comedy show. But he sits down to watch a TV, turns the TV on, and it was like the top says like me looking to review my 6 snowboarding footage that I got all day. And it was
Vlog.
like classic, yeah, classic GoPro straight down at the board. Like,
Yeah.
he just, like, goes and grabs the TV and chucks it out. I'm
Yeah,
like,
man.
"Bro, so true, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's good to hear, dude. Yeah, so it sounds like, it gave you kind of the autonomy to figure things out for yourself, knowing that platforms are gonna be constantly changing, which is kind of why I try to do it conceptually with this.
Yeah.
Like, here's the things you need to recognize, but also recognize that I'm not gonna have the answers in this video because it's probably gonna change in the next couple weeks. And
Yeah.
and that's why I try to make different, like, algorithm updates when there's, like, significant things that I'm seeing. But as you can TikTok's changed so much from the last 2 years. And what's interesting too is, like, your stuff on Instagram, crushing,
Yeah.
absolutely crushing. Like, Mike had let's see, Mike, you had I saw one just yesterday, I think it had 120,000 views on it.
Yeah.
And this is Mike and Mike posted this when he was at probably 3,000, 2,000 followers at the time, right? So that's like
No, it's like
ROI of
1,200, I think.
one 1,200
Yeah.
followers. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever X ROI that is, right?
Yeah, dude.
But I think you've posted that or like even similar videos on TikTok, and it's like they get a 0.01% view rate. And it's the same with me too, dude. And so like where I've actually found TikTok to be right now is looking at other creators. I think what they're doing well is I almost think of TikTok as Instagram stories now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's what
think of
I'm kind
like
of realizing.
right? It almost like my like if I post like kind of an almost an Instagram something I would post on my Instagram story, not a reel, those seem to do a little bit better right now. But
Mm.
if you come at it with a hook, a CTA, all that, it's almost like people are like burnt out of that on TikTok or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, crushing. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know, man. One of the cool things that you recommended doing the course that I was like bitter about doing was like just go on each platform for 4 hours and like
Yeah.
this isn't like you consuming it. This is you like taking notes and realizing like how these
Being a
platforms work.
producer. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, which is fun. Like now that I'm into this video editing, like I can't watch a TV show without being like, oh, the lighting and the pacing and I'm just like constantly like full instructor mode. Like I don't know if they should have done it that way or like this is
Whoop.
working, whatever. So it's like the same thing
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah,
teaching snowboarding where I'm like, when I see people, I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that person could bend their knee differently. Like all that stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But TikTok, I don't know, man. It's a little bit of a black box for me still. I don't know if like I got to figure out how my mission translates into that form of content, because I'm not trying to give like, um, kind of like shorter form. I mean, it's obviously short form, it's 90 seconds, but like just little like hot takes on things, or like, oh, this is happening in my life right now. Like, I want to make sure I'm bringing value with every video. Like, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. And TikTok seems to be more of like narrating your life while you're like just videotaping. And that's maybe it's just like posting where it's like a muscle that I haven't used that much, but something about just pulling it up and be like, oh, I'm headed to the gym now. Like, what do you guys do before you go to the gym? Like, that's kind of what TikTok
I
seems
know.
to be for me. And I don't know how I integrate that into my content, but give it a year. I'm just doubling down on Instagram right now because it's like,
Mhm.
that's going to be my portfolio moving forward. And that's where it's working. That's what I do, is working on there. So TikTok will be
Yep.
something I cross post to. And then eventually maybe I'll be like, okay, I have a foundation on
Yep.
Instagram. Now let's explore over here. But if I spread myself too thin, then I don't get the accelerated growth that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Right
Yeah.
on.
What about you?
Yeah.
What do you
No,
think? Like, how do you make, because you cross post, like your stuff is pretty good for like both
right.
platforms, because it kind of tags a little bit of both.
I think right now, like, just like you're saying, I'm more so like what I used to do previously was create videos and find trends in TikTok, create
Mm,
the TikTok, post it on TikTok, download it, and post it to Instagram. I'm now
right.
doing the opposite. I'm now creating, or I'm finding trends or reels or inspiration on Instagram, creating it in Instagram because I believe that there's a little more. I've found like if I do a couple, even just a couple small edits, even if I edit externally somewhere else, pull it into Instagram, I make a couple edits in Instagram app. Those seem to do a little bit better. And
Yeah.
so what I'm doing is honestly doing it that way now, and
Mm,
then posting it to or YouTube Shorts and TikTok. YouTube Shorts is still doing decent for
yeah.
me right now, and you can get paid on them, which is really cool.
Nice.
Not a
Yeah.
lot,
If you get,
but
you have the 1,000 followers or subscribers. So
yeah, and that should be easy for you to get with the shorts. I believe, like,
yeah, you think
because
so?
when I first monetized YouTube, dude, it took me forever to get to 1,000 subs, and that was
Mm,
just it was only long form. There was nothing short form. But with the advent of short form, dude, people are starting to really hit that threshold quite quickly with
yeah,
monetization. Yeah. Mhm.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
The tough thing is like, I gotta take off this sweater. One sec.
Yeah.
Tough thing is my videos, like a lot of them are 90 seconds. Then I gotta chop it down to 60, and by the time I
That's
post,
annoying.
I'm like, what's next? I don't even wanna.
Yeah, the other
But I
thing
think
with
that's
YouTube
something
is
I
like
can do where it's like the return on investment on like making sure it's formatted to all, because the hard part is taking the video and editing it. And then it's like, if I just chop a bit off. So I should definitely
yeah.
be doing that because I already have the content. It's like, just doesn't fit in YouTube. So I keep walking, but that's still an avenue.
Yeah. Maybe do like a part 1, put part
Oh,
1
dude,
in text or something, right? And then follow
that's a
for
good
part
idea.
2, some yeah, yeah, yeah.
Damn.
So,
Why didn't I think of that? That's so smart. Hell
hey,
yeah,
man.
bro.
But see, this is why I like talking to Mike. Mike is you're a very motivated creator, man. Like, I haven't came across someone like you for a while, and it's good to chop it up with you because we both kinda hit things back and forth with ideas. Because sometimes you'll say something, and I'll be like, "Oh, that is a good idea," or, "I didn't think about that," or I'm even watching some of your videos, and I'm like, with the pattern interrupts that you do,
Mm,
I'm like, "Dude, I need to start integrating more of that." Because you almost do a pattern interrupt, like, every freaking second, man. I'm like, "Well,
yeah.
no wonder it takes so long to edit your videos,
It's so long.
but they're so good, man." Like, they keep me engaged. And so, what do you think, like what's a specific strategy or tip that you could maybe give someone listening to this that is on social media, like, that has been, valuable for you in
Mm,
growing your Instagram or editing your videos?
yeah. Part of me wants to like get into the editing part, like how I edit videos. And like I want to front load it by saying like I'm not a professional at all, right? It's like 2 weeks ago. Literally 2 weeks ago, I had like 700 followers or something like that. Right?
Literally, I want people to listen to that. He literally 2 weeks ago was at 700 followers, and I checked it this morning, and he's at 5,000. Well, dang it, I just had him up. He's at 5,354 followers.
That's a lot.
You're halfway to 10K, which like 10K, I feel like is kind of that milestone, especially for brands. When they see a K next to your followers, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this dude's legit,
It's
right?
real.
But anyway, sorry to riff on that. But yeah.
But yeah, it's important to front load it with that because like I don't want to be like, this is how you should do social media because I'm still learning. Like, if you guys have any criticism or like comments on how I can do better, like let me know because I'm sure there's so many boxes I'm not ticking. Um, yeah. So instead of getting into the editing thing, I would just say like, don't be afraid to post stuff, man. Like I have friends who are great musicians, great climbers, great snowboarders. Like the world wants to see you doing that. Like there's no downside to you sharing like what you're passionate about and what you do well with other people. It's just like, I think it's just a lot of like worrying about how you're going to be perceived that holds people back from sharing stuff. Cause I know amazing people who have amazing thoughts and amazing activities that they have like just built up in their library. And I'm like, man, just get it out there. One of the reasons I like posting, and this is even prior, is like I get inspired by my friends. Like when you're climbing in the Grand Tetons and you post a video, I'm like, man, I got to go to the Grand Tetons. That shit looks awesome. So it's like
Yeah.
you can also contribute to like people being inspired. And that's a part of life, right? It's like you need to see someone doing a cool thing. So it's like, just share it. That would be my advice to people. It's like, just start doing it. And also don't be afraid to suck. Like the amount of times I'd go out and like I max out on storage and I like blew a video because of that, or like my mic wasn't connected. So I have to refilm the whole thing,
Totally.
or like my lighting was
Oh.
messed up or this was messed up. It's like, just don't let that deter you. It's like when stuff doesn't go right, it's like, cool, I won't do that ever again. That's my advice. Like post stuff, videotape yourself, and then just keep making it better each time. Cause like, after a few months, it's like all of a sudden your stuff is actually fun to watch. Like it's gonna suck at first. Go back on my Instagram, you'll see they're not that good. Yeah,
And that
that's
was,
what I would say.
I love it, dude. I love it, dude. And like you said, your videos from not even just a couple weeks. I mean, like I said, I remember when you asked for feedback in the group, and like it was a pretty good video, but like that was only 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Your videos from then to now are just like 100% different, and it's just because you
Yeah,
kept iterating, redoing
yeah,
it. Like, you know, it's interesting because version 2 or V2 of anything is always usually better. I've been recording this webinar, and how you said, man, the audio doesn't get picked up, the lights or whatever, right? So I was recording this webinar in chunks, and like it was an hour webinar, and the latter 30 minutes, I go to edit it, no audio. My mouth's moving,
oh,
no audio.
yeah,
And I just sat there for, it probably took me a good hour and a half. I just sat sulking. I was just, there's got to be a way to find, couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, I go for a walk, and like the whole time in my walk, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this better. I'm going to make this second version better now.
yeah,
That's
dude.
what I'm going to do. That's what this is going to give me. And so I went there, crushed the second version, just
Nice.
crushed it. So now it was actually better than the first 30 minutes, which is kind of funny. I should probably do the first 30 minutes again. But it's like, yeah, looking for those things. And I love what you said too about you have all of these friends that are, and I would bet I have this all the time. I have friends that are way better than me.
Yeah,
Running, climbing, snowboarding, right? And one of the things I say in the course is you don't have to be the best. A lot of people
yeah,
think that they have to be the best person at this stuff. But if you look at a lot of really popular backpacking influencers, hiking influencers, they aren't doing very high level stuff. They're just able to relate very well.
totally.
And they're good with video and stuff. And it's like, how many of those friends do you feel like you have that are better than you at X, Y, and Z? And if they just posted
Yeah.
about it, like they said that they wanted to do, how many of them do you think could be just rock stars.
Dude, so many. I mean, so many,
Yeah.
right? But I think the other thing with outdoors people is like we don't want to pull out our phone, right? So that was a hurdle that I'll probably still need to get over because a lot of my content has been filmed in here, like in my house. Um, but yeah, pulling out your phone is just like, but then like the season's over, talk about snowboarding, and you're just like, where are the videos of the cool things, right? Like you want to see that. And we consume like all of these inspirational videos. So I think it'll be worth like videotaping a bit more in while I'm doing the things. But to bring it back to what you're saying, I watched that video 3 times in the course. That was like, you don't have to be the best because I'm like, this is important. And just because I know it doesn't mean I don't need to hear it like repeated to me multiple times. Because like, I mean, you tweeted it or put it on your threads the other day where it's like perfection is the what was the quote? Perfection is the something of
Something
success.
about perfection is the enemy of progress.
Yeah.
Something like
Perfection is
that.
the enemy of progress. And we chopped it up like I did a few consultation calls with Chad, like as I moved through the journey, because I'm like, I can't ask, my parents how to be a better content creator. So I'm like, I need to ask someone who's successful with it. So I like invested a bit of time and money into like hearing and getting some feedback. And one of the things that we kind of back and forth did was like, just don't try, like, you can't be perfect, right? The amount of people were like, oh, I just got to
Mhm.
like tighten up this video before I post it. It's like, well, how many videos have you posted? It's like, none. It's like, okay, well, if you
Yeah.
post one, then you have like one more than zero. And then like you just stack on that. But it's like, you're not going to be perfect. And yeah, there's just so many people that I think could just be sharing more and inspiring more people and like educating, especially my
Yeah.
world is like guiding. It's like, dude, the way you teach how to tie a bowline, like there's a guy I follow from Australia, this like old cat who just teaches knots. And I was like, he shared a couple videos. I'm like, this is awesome. Like now I'm going to be so much more efficient at all these things I do all the time. So it's like, if you guys just share this awesome knowledge you have, like there's no downside. And as I said, the bandwidth for teaching is insane. Like it's like close to 200,000 people who've watched my videos now.
Mhm.
Insane.
Mhm.
Like, and then you watch that one that I have like 120,000 views on. It's like they do a little, if you're in the profile, they show how much time people have spent watching your video. And it's like 870 hours for a 90-second video, right? Like multiplied
Dude,
across 120,000. I'm like, you know how long it would take for me to teach that many people? So it's like you get to
right.
inspire and like you're just spreading good knowledge in the world. There's no downside to it other than the like 10 hours it takes you to grind out making that footage. But dude, it's worth it. Like you're making the world a better place. So if someone's watched this, like
Dude.
just post stuff, man. It's gonna suck and then you're gonna
Yeah.
change the world. That's the way I look at it.
Ah. Oh, that gives me the chills, man. Yeah, instead of one to one or one to a few that you do
Yeah.
with guiding, right? You're now one to exponential many,
Yeah.
right? However long the algorithm pushes it.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Just untapped leverage that you can do there. Yeah, and one more thing to riff off of this one, and we'll move on to the next question. I have my roommate is really good. You talked about people that are really good with music,
Yeah.
and when he first moved in, he was playing guitar and singing, and I stopped him and I said, "Dude," I said, "it would be a shame if you do not start playing live shows or
Mm,
don't post this to Instagram." I said, it would be wasted potential if you
totally.
don't do this." Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was dead serious. And so now it's interesting seeing him he's in that first step phase where he's kind of like putting his foot in a little
Yeah.
bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where he will post a little bit, and he's went to these open mic nights to check him out and stuff. And I'm seeing like it kind of start building. And so I'm going to keep on him, right? Because I think it's super important because if Justin Bieber's video didn't go viral, I always think about that.
Mm,
There would be no Justin Bieber. And
that's a great
so
thought,
we're just
right?
in this yeah, we're just in this really exciting time. So, yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, and those are super, super good points. Now,
But my
you
question for
said you had a
you,
question for me? Yeah.
yeah, dude. Same thing. Like, I only know little patches of your journey to like how you created stuff. Like, my really brief understanding of how you got into creating things is like you did some hike, and then you were posting videos, the John Muir Trail, I think, and then that got some traction,
Mhm.
like accidentally. It sounds like, I don't know if it was intentional,
Mhm.
and then you went a bit harder into it, and obviously now
Yeah.
this is your job, which is cool and it's pretty inspiring. But I'm curious, like how your mindset has shifted from like, I'm just gonna post stories to like, holy shit, I can like start doing this for real.
Yeah, good question. Okay, so for my journey, and I think a lot of outdoor creators or a lot of people in the outdoors might have this feeling, but I had this feeling that what I was doing in the outdoors was unique.
Mm,
And why I say that is because when I would go back to my 9 to 5, I would tell people about my weekends and they'd
yeah.
just be blown the frick away. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is like actually pretty normal, but they were blown away. They're just like, "Oh my gosh," and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I always had this feeling in the back of my mind. I said, if I could just document what I did, I think people would be interested in it. As you've
Mm,
alluded to many times, documenting is the hardest part of it because the last thing you want to do when you're in the middle of something is pull out your phone or pull out your camera and start recording. But
yeah.
and and so I realized that this was a discipline that was keeping a lot of people out of doing it in the first place. So I think like right there, the fact that I was willing to do that, I could propel myself above these people that might be better than me with X, Y, and Z, but they just don't want to record. They don't want to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So I went on this trip in 2019. This is my first section hike. It was 100 miles in on the PCT. I just wanted to see if I liked through hiking and stuff.
Did you go from the south?
I went from I did it in Oregon. So it
Okay.
was just 100 miles in Oregon.
Nice.
And throughout that time, I was basically recording. You can still see this on my profile too. I was recording Instagram stories on my journey,
Right.
but almost kind of like as a YouTube video. But I would like check in and I would be like, this is what we did. And I would
Mm,
set up my phone and walk past it. I didn't make any YouTube video off of it. I literally was just uploading them to my story, dude.
really? So you didn't even make a post, like 24 hours and that was gone.
Yeah, 24 hour and but it's in my highlights. So you could go all the way back to my highlights. You could see these vintage videos.
Nice.
And so through that process, I was posting them and people started commenting and sending me DMs and they were like, "Oh my god, I love following this journey. This is so cool." Blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. And that was my first. I think you need these indications, like somebody that's not your mom telling you that
Yeah.
that this
Yeah.
is really cool, right? Because
Yeah.
mom's gonna say everything's cool. Thank you, mom. Great
Totally.
moms
Yeah.
out there, and that's what that's what's an awesome mom, right? But you can't always trust that opinion, right? Because it's like sometimes it's like that maybe it's not the best. So when I was getting that external approval, I was like, okay, I can do something with this. So what did I do? I actually went into blogging. This was in
Classic.
2019. Yeah, this is
Oof.
when blogging I felt like was still kind of up there, and still wasn't that much social media or short form vertical traction yet. So I
Right.
started doing this blogging. I got on with the Trek, which is like a big backpacking all this, and ended up. I was like, oh my god! Like they were like, hey, we're gonna sign you on. You can write blog articles for us, and you can create videos and post them on our YouTube. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get so many followers from this. So many. I mean, it's going to be insane the amount of people because they're like, oh, you're going to get so much exposure and this and that.
Oh, they hyped you up, eh? They were like,
Oh,
this
they
is
friggin' hyped it up.
like,
And so I made these videos and I wrote these blog posts and I got like 3 followers from, nothing. I
what?
mean, absolutely garbage. It was so
Yeah.
stupid. And so at that time, I realized, okay, I need to start posting on my own personal site. Right? And so
Mm,
I dumped blogging. I
good
got rid
call.
of that and I started making YouTube videos. And so I made YouTube videos and then I started listening to Tea with Gary Vee. This was during now. And my brother's like, you got to listen to this podcast. I think you'd really like it. And so
Dude,
what
shout
Gary
out
Vee
Gary
did for
Vee.
me, oh my gosh. Dude, honestly, I have a DM from him that's hanging on my wall
No
right here.
shit.
He said, Chad, keep building. That's why I sign off all my emails and newsletters as keep building. Because he saw a post once and he said, Chad, keep building. And we had a couple exchanges.
The ghost
Comes
of
full
Gary
circle,
Vee
right?
just looking over you.
I
I
love the,
fucking love
I-
it, man. I love that you printed it
dude,
out and put it on your wall.
it's right on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. And, and so I credit Gary Vee with being the one that got me into the mindset of being someone or of being able to have a hobby, but monetize that hobby. Because this whole
Totally.
time people were calling in and they had these same questions that you and I have been talking about. And they were in that first step. A lot of them were mostly in that first step of things. And one of the things he talked about was how big TikTok was going to be. He was really bullish on
Mm,
TikTok. This was early 2020, where everybody still thought TikTok was young women dancing.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Just like how YouTube used to be a cat videos, right? And so
yeah.
I
And
I
Instagram just used to
trusted,
be like, yeah. Sorry, go on.
and one of the things he said, and this is what I put into the academy, was he's like, this is untapped real estate. This
Mm,
is like a gold rush. If you get in on this soon, very quickly, you will be able to make a career out of this. So that's what I did. I doubled down on TikTok and
yeah,
posted several videos. Like I said, I went on the JMT and I probably posted for 6 months. Nothing happened really. Went on the JMT, came back, went on this backpacking trip randomly with this girl and didn't have a very good time with the girl, but ended up filming a video that I
yeah,
posted. And I remember I posted at like 6:15 a.m. And by an hour later, I had 10K views and it was just rolling and rolling and rolling. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. So off of
yeah.
that, I got thousands of followers and,
Nice.
I think it was 100 and some thousand viewed video. And that's what took it off. And so really my TikTok got built first. And then in 21, I realized Instagram came out with Reels and I realized, oh, this is the same shit. They're going to
Exactly.
prioritize video. So I just went
Mm,
full into Reels when nobody else was. And
yeah,
that's what ended up being the incredible growth that I found. So, long
nice.
answer to your question, but it's all these serendipitous moments, but it's also taking advantage of opportunities when you see them and not letting
Yeah,
them pass. Cause like, as you said, man, like people have all this potential. And if they don't believe in themselves, they don't take the opportunity, it's never going to happen. So yeah. And then eventually started working with brands, quit my job, and here I frickin' am, man. Here I
yeah.
frickin' am. And
You do it.
like I said, I love watching you as you're in your growth right now and like how exciting that is, and
Yeah.
has there been any aha moments for you where things have just clicked or you're starting to see things click at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just a lot of mindset shifting, right? Like when you're surrounded by people who don't know about this world, and then also like it's just all your friends and people around you just want you to see you be successful, right? So they like know how they've seen people be successful, and I'm like, I'm sacrificing a lot of things and opportunities right now to prioritize this. Like I'm just like pretty singularly focused right now. So it's just a lot of like, I'm just not listening to as many people now, I'm just like, well, like you don't know about this world. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I heard, the time you post is important. And like, they're just giving their like 2 cents. I'm like, this is like you telling me about the guiding industry, right? It's like, I don't want to take advice from people who aren't successful in it. Um, but to bring it back to, it's like, when it's like everyone should be posting, I don't know if everyone should be posting, but it's like, if is it your ego that's stopping you from posting, right? Like, are you worried about people looking at you a certain way? Is that what's stopping you? Because like, I have a friend who's a musician right now. Shout out to Diggy Soul, and like, I've been trying to gas him up to post stuff because I'm like, dude, he went to school for jazz. He like plays music so well. He does these cool loops, and he's been like sending me some videos. He's gonna get it going soon. But I'm like, I think it was Erica Badu who said like, once you make art, like that's not yours anymore. You know what I mean? It's like that belongs to like the people, right? It's like you have to let it free. Like if you just hold on to it, then that's selfish, right? So
Good
pretty funny
point.
to say when like the videos I make are like grainy and shitty audio or whatever, but it's like I see it as that. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at now. This is where I'm at now. Like, this is now yours. Like, this knowledge isn't mine either. I'm just like packaging it and putting it out there in a way that people can absorb it. So I'm trying to have an artist lens on it too, where it's like I'm building something creative that other people can learn from. And that's kind of the aha moment now. And it's adding value. Like, I'm just trying to make sure that my videos, like, people walk away from it. Right now it's like with knowledge, but in the future it'll definitely be inspiration too. Like, I think it's important to highlight, and I haven't talked about this in videos yet, but that, like, I didn't come from a place where adventure sports was a thing, like I didn't rock climb
Mm-hmm.
as a kid. Like, my parents don't do
Mm-hmm.
snowboarding. Like, they don't ski or snowboard at all. And like,
Mm-hmm.
even if you were that person, you can still get out there and get after it. Like, it's so much fun. And if you're someone who likes or is drawn to that, like, there's ways to do it. It's hard, but I just want to be able to, like, inspire and educate people. What I've been doing in my work, why I'm drawn to guiding, why I didn't get into trades, but now it's like I just have this awesome avenue to do it. So that's been the aha moment. And it's not really real until, people start following and liking it and encouraging. So yeah, it's just like having a kind of a self-belief was a big thing for me. It's like, I just have to, like, know that, like, as long as I fail like 100 times, it's not about like the making money thing for me as much as like teaching. Like, if I could teach a lot more people in a way that didn't make as much money, that would be okay too. But like, it just happens to correlate, it's, as you're
Yeah.
saying, it's like you happen to love these things and you can also make money from it, which means you can do more things you love. Right.
Right.
So it's
No
like,
brainer.
yeah, it
No
spirals
brainer.
upwards, but the prerequisite is just grinding for a while. And I'm still in the grinding phase. Like, I'm still in the phase where, like, I'm kind of like, I'm figuring it out. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
I wouldn't look up to me. I'd look up to Chad. I'd get his course because, like, he's been in it a lot longer. And then, maybe in 2 years, I might have some handle on like the TikTok algorithm and stuff. But right now, it's like I just found what's working for me. And your course has been the thing that, like,
Well,
got me to here. So
yeah.
I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Well, yeah, no, we definitely appreciate you, dude. I mean, you have been outstanding in this so far. And one of the things too that I wanted to touch on real quick was the fact that you actually someone had seen your videos that you posted, right?
Mm, yeah.
And contacted you. I think you knew him before, right? But someone
Yeah.
had seen your videos, contacted you about them, and now I think you just sent him a contract. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about this process.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't go too much into details for it just in case, like, things change in the future around that. But yeah, basically, like, and I chatted with my sister about this because, as I said, she's like a freelance person. And once you shift from like employee into like, okay, now you have a valuable skill, it's not so much the hourly wage anymore. It's more like, what can you give this person with your skills? Right. Um, so once you have these skills, like, I now know how to, like, take a video in like my kind of semi-professional studio setup. Like, I've invested in mics and this kind of thing. And then I also know how to edit really well. I know how to package it so that it's on social media and people like are drawn to it. I know how to post it. And like, there's so many different skills that you actually build up by like being in this, that all of a sudden a brand, even if they're like, this is a really good brand that has a lot of customers, they're like, we need more customers. We know social media works, but we don't know anything about it. I'm like, okay, I know how to do all of these things. And like, that's worth a lot of money. That's not worth,
A lot of money.
$20
Mhm.
an hour. Cause like, my knowledge is part of that. It's like being a skilled, like, auto mechanic, right? It's like, this is about what
Mhm.
I can do for you, not about how much time it takes me to do it, because you can.
Mhm.
So I valued myself pretty high just because I know in 6 months, like, and right now my time is better spent like making content for my stuff that like accelerates my value to whatever people I work with in the future. So I think this will be funny to look at in like a year for both of us, like, wherever we end up.
Oh,
'Cause it's like,
100%. We
yeah,
gotta do yeah. We gotta do a year check-in with Mike. Oh my gosh,
that'd be
I'm
fun,
so
man.
stoked for this. Yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
stoked for this. Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
right,
it'd be
man. Like,
cool.
you've invested you invested in learning skills, and
Hmm.
that is the perfect word for it. You invested, because you
Yeah.
invested money into learning skills. You learn the skills, and now look, now now you're able to monetize the skills that you just learned. That's what Alex Hormozy always says. Like, you need
Yeah.
to be, instead of investing in the S&P 500, do the S&Me 500, right?
Yeah.
Like, invest in yourself, and that's what you
Totally.
totally did, man. And one other thing that he talks about too is like how thinking about your audience that you're building right now, they're leads. They're basically
Mhm.
leads for you in a way, right? They chose to hit the
Yeah.
follow button and follow you for your content. And so in a way, they are potential future leads in case you want to work with somebody, brands that might be following you, or people that maybe you come out with your own type of course at some point, right? Like, so all these
Yeah.
people are going to be like potential leads. And one thing that he always thought about at first was like how silly it was to create a video, spend so long creating a video, right? And then you
Yeah.
post it and it's pretty much gone within the Instagram algorithm in a few weeks or something, right? But he's like,
Yeah.
no, I had to shift my mindset into like, I'm getting a free audience from this, basically, right? Like,
Yeah.
organically. I'm building this to become leads, and that's why he's been so successful with his books and his everything that he's got. And yeah, he's a
Yeah.
really good person that everybody, I think, should follow if you're interested in this.
Totally. Yeah. I haven't dabbled like into the I'm kind of unique where like I haven't like harnessed the monetization part yet, but I think I just needed to establish like my skills. And then one cool way of conceptualizing it that I heard recently that like I resonated with was think about it like a magazine, right? It's like if you're reading a magazine, you're like getting value, getting value. There's a commercial there, like a little bit of information. And then you're like, oh, I don't care that this is in here because I'm getting so much out of this magazine, right? And the products that we chatted about
Mm,
this, like the products you're going to choose and I'm going to choose to promote are like, we know they work, right? And that
right.
seems to be like even people who are super successful. Like I have a friend that I was chatting with who's like crushing TikTok. And I was just like, partnerships, like walk me through it. Like what should and shouldn't I do? I'm really big on what I shouldn't do because I'd rather like knowing how to press the gas harder is good, but like knowing that your foot's off the brake is way more important in my opinion. So I was like, what
Hmm.
shouldn't I do? And she's like, don't partner with companies that don't align with your values or mission. So I'm like, kind
Hmm.
of establishing that, and then that'll be how I like move forward so that my audience knows that like if I recommend a certain brand to buy your climbing gear from, like I know it's a good brand. I'm not going to like
Hmm.
partner with people that don't like aren't looking in the same direction as me or aren't trying to make the best product they can. So that's kind of how I'm conceptualizing it because it gets a little ethical once you get into monetizing. But isn't that cool? The magazine analogy?
I love that analogy, bro.
Cool,
I
right?
love that, and because Gary V's got the jab jab, or it's jab 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 right hook. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you're boxing, you use the jabs to set it up, and then you hit him with like a right hook. But I freaking love the magazine. That's such a good point, man. And because,
Yeah.
and especially like how you're saying it, like when you're a very credible source, even the stuff that you're promoting still has value to people now,
Yeah.
because they're like, maybe they've been wondering what is the best XYZ to use in this situation. All of a sudden you come out, pop out, hey, this is the one I trust. Boom,
Yeah.
easy solution for them. To their problem,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
It's like I
man.
already use this
Well, good.
product. So I'll just like reach out to the brand
Yeah.
and be like, hey, you want me to tell people I use your product?
Yeah. No kidding. Seriously. And that could be how it
Yeah.
is
So
sometimes. Yeah.
it'll be
Well,
exciting, man. I'm stoked.
couple questions here, and then we'll shut this down. But this has been absolutely awesome to hear where you're at in the process and the mindset. And like you said, I cannot wait to look on this 6 months, a year later, and see where you're at, dude. I mean, it's just been quite exciting for me to see as well. What are your, what is your goal for the next year? Speaking on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try like follower count. I would love to get it like 50,000. Um, but really just like create as much valuable content as I can. Um, I do have like goals as far as like I want to contribute a certain amount of money as well to like guiding companies I know that do well in my industry. Like that take kids like I was and take them out for expeditions, because I just know that's a super formative time. So it'll be nice. Like I want to harness whatever leverage I get from social media into that industry as well. One of the super exciting things is like I was at Outward Bound Canada. Just shout out to Outward Bound in general. Have you heard of these people?
I have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're big. They're big in the U.S. too. Hey, so they run expeditions for primarily youth. There is some adult programs, but like I was at their Toronto office second week of September, like facilitating some ropes courses for kids. And I was talking with the guy and he's like, man, like we're not getting enough kids signed up for these courses. Like we're dropping courses. And I'm like, dude, if you were able to get like what this course is in front of 16-year-olds, if you're like, hey, you can go on a 32-day whitewater expedition in Northern Ontario, and it's going to be super hardcore and awesome, and you're going to grow so much in like a short period of time, you're going to make awesome friends, you're going to learn skills. Like, dude, if you just got that in front of more people, those courses would fill up, and then all those kids' lives are changed. And like,
I know.
yeah,
I
so
know.
I'm stoked to be able to like help companies like that just get that in
Right.
front of people and like get more people in the outdoors. Like you can tell by how I'm talking about it, like that's exciting. So that's one of the things I see in the future. And then also, make this full time, like share my love of things with people and just keep doing that, man.
Oh, I
What about
can't
you,
wait
man?
to see.
What's your year plan? I'm curious.
This year was mostly focused on my business. So I did a lot of
Mm.
adventuring, but I didn't. My longest through hike was like 5 days, so that's like nothing. You know, did a lot of 14ers and all that. But I think so next year, dude. Honestly, what my thing that I want to do. Do you know who Jimmy Chin is?
Yeah. Every
Okay.
time I'm taking a
Yeah, no
video
shit, right?
of climbing
You're
or
a
taking a
climber.
picture, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm coming for you, Jimmy Chin.
Dude, totally, bro. Totally.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be Jimmy Chin. I legitimately
Oh
want to
yeah.
be Jimmy Chin. That is my guy. I want to be hired to film expeditions for people.
Mm.
So I can go on the expedition. I want to be able to document it for them. And whether or not I'm in the documentary, I don't really care. I'll be in it maybe just a little bit,
Yeah.
right? But I just want to film them doing cool shit, right? And
Yeah.
so I want to be able to, get into that. And I want to get a podcast sponsor. I think that would be awesome. I want to keep growing a podcast, keep growing my YouTube. I think those are the two big things that I really want to do in 2024. But we're possibly planning Denali,
Oh
and
shit. Let's
and then
go,
I want to do
man.
the long trail. Yep, yeah. So got
Make
that
it
stuff
happen.
going, man. So I'll do a big documentary on that,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now that I've been learning the Sony cameras and all that, and it's been fun. So yeah, just keep growing the business. But honestly, I just want to get to a point where I don't have to worry about money.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about money, buy a house, probably do some real estate stuff. That's like my longer term goals. And then just do
Totally.
passion projects, whatever I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. 5-year plan for me is definitely buying a house. Like 5 years from now, I'd like to buy a house. And the
Mhm.
trajectory I was on, that was like not an option. But now it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like maybe if I punch the right buttons and just keep trying to learn, like there's
Yeah.
no ceiling industry, right? Whereas like I was going to get into secondary school teaching for private schools. Long story. But I'm like, man, they get capped. Like you hit a cap, even if you're a principal, like you're hitting
You
a
hit a
ceiling on it.
cap. Yes.
And I want the harder I work, the more I get paid. And also like the more it's cool because if we do it right, like the more we inspire people and educate people, the more we get paid. So it's like
Mhm.
the better you make the world, the more resources you get is the way I'm seeing it.
Mhm.
But dude, Jimmy Chin, there's an awesome interview. I don't know if you've watched this, but it's an interview with him and like I think it's another National Geographic photographer. He's an older fella. I don't know his name, but it was talking about his like origin story. Have you seen this interview?
Possibly.
When he's talking about like
Possibly,
learning, he
yeah.
got hired to like be the videographer, photographer for this National Geographic expedition, but he didn't know how to use the camera. It's like on the flight in, he's like reading the manual to like how to use the camera. 'Cause he had no clue. He just like by this like crazy wandering path, like ended up there shooting this expedition for National Geographic. And like I think it's a good analogy where it's like you don't have to know everything, just like Just
was
try
just
and
gonna
get
say
in a
that.
place where like people can see your stuff, and the opportunity is easier now because there's always an opportunity to show your content, right? There's always an
Yeah.
opportunity to show people. You don't have to book at a farmer's market and like go put your pictures up and like wait and hope people like
Right.
talk about you. Like there's a city hall that's always running and it's on your phone that everyone's always checking in on. So make it happen. Yeah. Jimmy
Yes,
Chin's the man
perfection
though.
is the enemy of yeah, perfection is the enemy of progress. When you brought that up, that's exactly the analogy that I thought too as well.
Yeah.
He's a frickin' man, dude. Yeah,
But Jimmy Chin is sick. Like his life's so cool. He's just be like
so
surfing,
cool.
climbing, like yeah, he's got it made. And he was a dirtbag for like 7 years, right? It's like
Yep,
you don't probably don't want to be a dirtbag in your 40s. It's not a good look.
right,
so,
right.
so
Yeah.
yeah, you
It's
could
like,
do it,
grow up.
dude. I could totally see it. I had a girl who wrote for National Geographic that I guided once. And like they're normal people. Like you just have to normalize that you don't have to have superpowers to achieve things. You just have to set a
Oh, I
nice goal.
love that, dude.
Yeah.
Normalize that you don't need superpowers. That's a great quote. Well,
Yeah.
awesome, dude. Well, so I guess my last question, and then we'll make sure people can get a follow for you. We'll get some of your Instagram handles and all that at the end here. But what advice would you give to someone that might be on the fence to enrolling in the academy? What advice would you give them to maybe get over that hump?
Yeah. Um, that's a big question because it totally depends on the person. But if I had to give blanket advice, I'd be like really analyze um what you're doing with the time and money that you would spend on the course. And if that's gonna get you closer to your future that you like, then spend your time and money doing that. But like um the investment like monetarily, everyone has different situations, but the investment like money wise and time wise to the potential return on income is like it's so large, right? It's like there's no, as I said, there's no ceiling in the industry. Um, yeah, and like you can prepare, you can try and do it yourself, and like you're gonna just watch a bunch of YouTube videos and get kind of confused, and it's just nice to have a structure. Like there's a reason why you can learn quicker when you're in like formalized education systems. It's because they have a process they built for you that knows they're gonna output a certain outcome. So it's like you can do it yourself. It's just gonna take a lot longer, probably. And you just avoid a lot of mistakes because you've made a lot of mistakes and then you talk about them, right? It's like you got to learn. When you learn from other people's mistakes, it just accelerates your learning so much faster. So I would say if you're thinking about making content and like you have something cool you want to share with the world, like really think about what you have to lose by doing it because
Yeah,
you're probably like
yeah,
scrolling on Instagram anyway. You're probably spending money going out to eat to just save a bit of money. Spend your time like learning how you can share your talents with the world. That's what I would tell someone who's like, oh, I'm thinking about taking this course. And also, Chad's a legit guy. Like, I'm so worried about taking courses online. When I've had like friends be like, I'm taking this how to build a website course online, and they teach you how to do this, and they give you a market like a pricing structure. I'm like, you got played, man. But like, this is a legit course. It's like when you buy a car. It's like you don't actually know if it's gonna be good or not, and then you drive it for a year. So it's like I took Chad's course. It's actually good. Like look at what I did from it.
Well, thanks, dude. No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Invest in the S and Me 500, baby.
Yeah, that's a
I
funny
love
one,
what you
right?
say about, yeah, I mean, just what you say about the fact that there is no cap. And that was why I quit my job in the first place, because
Yeah,
I was pretty much capped. Didn't matter how good I was or what I did, I was capped at earning that. But the more skills that I learn and the more work that I do, I saw my income increase being a creator. And I'm like, oh, well, that's way better ROI. Like
yeah,
as somebody that likes to build stuff, I like to see a return on my investment. And that's exactly what I was getting with that. So dude,
yeah, yeah. Like if you like working hard and you want to be
right.
rewarded for it, and that's
Yeah,
what's motivating me. It's like
exactly.
I work my ass
Right.
off in every job, and then it's like you work really hard. Maybe you'll get like
Right.
a $3 promotion this year. And then next year you'll
Right.
make like $30 an hour instead of 27. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, I just worked for
Yeah.
like 700 hours refining the
Yes.
skill to make you money. And they're like, now you get $3 more. And I was like, and some people want that, right? Some people, like, when you clock out, you don't have to think about the job. Like, I don't want to put my dreams on someone else. Like, maybe that's what they want to do. And like, they're in a better place than they were. But for me, I was like, I want to work hard and like exponentially grow what I can build from that. And social media right now at this point in time, it's like every year you wait, that's 1 year that you didn't spend towards it, right? So it's like, I thought about
Totally.
going and starting a YouTube channel like 10 years ago. Everyone thought about it,
Oh,
right? Everyone's thought about, or gonna start a YouTube channel. It's like thinking about it doesn't actually like contribute, right? So you got to
right.
make sure you actually start. It's 20% preparation, 80% perspiration. So it's like you got
Yeah.
to just do the work.
Well,
But if you want a
dude,
solid foundation, the course is the game, man.
and man, if you would have done YouTube 10 years ago, you you would have that was kind of the gold rush of YouTube, right? Because I
Yeah.
believe right now we're in that gold rush of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. Whereas if people get in now
Mhm.
and they instead of doing it 3 years from now, they're in a way better position. And it's the same
Yeah.
with if somebody did that 10 years ago with YouTube. Sometimes you scroll on. I will scroll on YouTube and I'll come across this channel and they have 30,000 subs or something, and I'm like, man, this isn't even really that good a content. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do they have so many subs? It's because they got in early. That's why.
Yeah.
Y- You
Yeah.
know,
It's like, I mean, have you read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell?
no, but it's on my list, man.
You got to read that book. Actually, it would even relate. I'm hyping up your course a lot, but it relates to your course because it's basically saying like it does a case study on lots of successful people. So like Steve
Mhm.
Jobs, Bill Gates, I forget who else, but like lots of very highly successful people. And they basically walk them through their life. And they're like, okay, so like say you have two people, right? This guy works hard and he has a good work ethic and he's smart. This guy also works hard, good work ethic, and he's smart. But the environment that this person was in and the people they talked to and like the opportunities they had allowed them to be like, Steve Jobs. This
Yeah.
guy was good at computers too. He just grew up in Missouri on a farm or whatever. No diss at Missouri. but like, but like he grew up in somewhere where he didn't have access to the resources. So like he had a different path, right? So it's like courses like this and like people that have been successful, if you are exposed to them, then you can just accelerate where you could be. Cause you could be I work really hard landscaping. I work really hard guiding. And like if people do that, they get to a certain place. Whereas like if you work really hard in social media, I mean, look
Yeah.
around. Like that's what happens when you crush it in social media for 5 years. Like it's not
Yeah.
a $3 raise.
Yeah, man. It's like the leverage. It's just the lever that you have for leverage is just a lot higher because you're right. I mean, like you can I worked probably a lot harder in construction with my dad than I did physically than I am right
Yeah.
now, and a lot more hours, but for a lot less money. And
Yeah.
so when I realized that yeah, you can still work hard, you can be disciplined and all that, but if you're using that towards the wrong place
Hmm.
and rather versus a different place that has more leverage, you can kind of skyrocket if that's something that you want to do. Some people, maybe they don't want to do that. So, but
Yeah.
dude, how can people catch up with you? Where can they follow you at? Where they like I said, he's at like 5,300 people right now.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time this comes up, he's probably gonna have more. Where can they follow you? See
Yeah.
your progress.
My Instagram is at Mike Vert _, and that's like on TikTok as well. But I would say if I was going to give a call to action, like try and get you guys to do something, it would just be to like go out and have fun doing some kind of adventure sport, whether it's climbing or snowboarding or hiking, like enjoy the outdoors, enjoy moving your body. And then if you want, you can follow me, but do
I
the,
love
do the have
it.
fun part first for sure.
Thank you for listening, everybody. And if you feel like this deserves a 5-star rating on Spotify, I would super appreciate if you could leave that rating or even just share this with somebody that might find it useful. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see you for the next episode.